Sony recently came out with a 28-70 f2, the second lens of its kind behind the Canon 28-70mm f2 that came out like 3 or 4 years ago. So I've been seeing some videos saying that, oh, that catches Sony up in terms of lenses, like they're right on par with Canon in terms of the lens selection for the E-mount. And I don't think that's really true. So I kind of want to address that myth in this quick video. Without a doubt, the E-mount has the widest range of lenses for a mirrorless system of any manufacturer. Nikon, Olympus, Panasonic, Leica, Canon, who am I forgetting? Pentax don't have the wide array of lenses and aren't totally open to third-party manufacturers like the Sony E-mount is. So certainly there's a whole bunch of lenses that you can only get on the Sony E-mount, like this super fun Viltrox 28mm pancake lens, video coming soon. And like it's one of the mounts that, gets super fun lenses also, like this Polar Pro Light Leak lens. And of course, if you've been watching my videos recently, I have to mention the Sony Zeiss lenses, like this Batis 85mm f1.8 are just cracking, total hidden gems on the Sony E-mount system. I bet there's all kinds of hidden gems because there are so many E-mount lenses. So I'm not saying that there isn't this wide range of lenses. What I'm saying is that Canon still has some like pro-grade lenses that the Sony E-mount system doesn't have that I think Sony needs to come out with in 2025 to like surpass Canon. Sony already has the best tech in its camera bodies. Now it's got to catch up in terms of optics, in my opinion. The 28-70mm f2 was of course a great start, but there are two lenses in particular that I think Sony needs to make in 2025 to meet or beat Canon in terms of its lens production and like genuine professional lenses for its camera system. So the first lens that I think Sony needs to come out with is a 10-20 f4, or even like an f2.8 to top Canon. Canon's version of this lens has an autofocus and manual focus. It has image stabilization you can turn on and off with the switch, and it's got a custom function button. It has the usual bevy of Canon control rings, focus, and zoom rings, and it feels really nice. I will say Canon lenses feel more solid and more professional than Sony G Master lenses, but that is what it is. I think the weight savings sort of balances that out, but that's another topic for another video. But yeah, Canon is the only system that has a 10-20 lens. I don't get it. I don't understand why Nikon and Sony haven't already come out with a lens to compete with this. Sony, get on it. Sony did make a lens that sort of replaced the EF version of this. This is the Canon 11-24 f4, which is a beast. It has this big old lens element, and Sony's 12-24 kind of looks like this. So their version of this lens sort of is the outdated version. It's time to update it, Sony. You got to do something like this at the 10-20, that doesn't have such a big honking lens element, although it does still have that fisheye element, so you can't put filters on it. So, there are places where Sony could actually improve on this, both having a wider aperture, say 2.8, and then figuring out a way to put filters over the lens. That would be great. And then the second lens that I think Sony needs to come out with in 2025 to compete with Canon is the 24-105 f2.8 they just came out with. Sony has a 24-105, I think f4, but it's old and it's not very good. The Canon version is excellent. It's good for photo and video purportedly. And I just think that Sony needs to update, refresh, and create a lens like that because it would be perfect for their system. The Canon version has lens stabilization. It's got an aperture ring. These are all things that Sony can do, has done, and is doing with its G Masters. And I feel like Sony could do the same thing they did with their 28-70 f2 and just make their 24-105 smaller, lighter, and maybe even sharper. Oh, another lens that Sony needs to come out with is an 85mm f1.2. Both Nikon and Canon have this lens, and Sony just came out with an 85 f1.4. I understand that's a great lens, but I want the 1.2. Similarly, Canon and Nikon don't have a 35mm f1.2 yet, Sony could come out with that. It definitely can be done. There's a Sigma 35mm f1.2. So if Sony could come out with a little G Master version of it, that would be a cracker that would help move it up to the top of the pops also. Lastly, this isn't something that Canon is doing that Sony could do, but it's just something I want and I feel like it fits in this video. I think that Sony needs to reignite its partnership with Zeiss and start making some more cracking lenses with that Zeiss rendering, because that has it competing with like Leica lenses, not Canon lenses. In particular, I'm thinking like there's other cinema lens manufacturers out there besides Zeiss and Leica, right? There's Cook, there's Ari, there's Ingenu, right? There's Hawk, there's Atlas. Like Sony could partner with one of these guys and make super high-end lenses, maybe that 35-1.2 or 85-1.2, and that would be like a real barn burner. All the better if Sony makes like a retro camera to put little manual focus aperture ring lenses from those manufacturers. But like, those are cinema lens manufacturers. They're not like I'm just dreaming. But but you know what I mean. Like super high quality, European maybe level optics, or even like heck Phase One. Why not partner with Phase One or do like a Schneider? I think it's Schneider that Phase One uses. Why not match up with them? They're not going to be competing. The medium format stuff that Phase One is making is totally different from the full frame stuff that Sony's making. So I feel like there's lots of potential partners there for Sony, and that would really move them up in terms of like prestige and quality of optics as compared to its other Japanese competitors. Maybe some dreamland stuff. I feel like I'm digressing. So let me wrap this video up. So what do you think? Are there other lenses that Canon has that Sony or Nikon doesn't have that Sony should come out with so they truly are top of the pops, both in camera body tech and in optics and availability of pro level quality optics and like interesting, unique focal lengths? Did I miss any focal lengths or lenses? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, all good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.